me just switch all the screens. And yeah, hopefully we should be live. Hi everyone, and please, if you are watching this and you can see us, please let me know in the comments if you can hear us. That's the most important thing. So we actually had like about 25 people waiting for this live stream, which is more than ever. Which is a pretty good number. Just looking at the chat, if you guys notice our players saying that, do you guys actually have access to the chat? Okay. Yeah, hey everyone, welcome to the live stream, but please do let me know if you can hear if there's sound coming from the other guys as well, from Will and Johnny. Yeah, Kevin can definitely hear myself, but not sure about Johnny and Will. Yeah. Okay. You should be able to hear them now.
Hopefully everyone can hear me as well.
Yeah, guys, you should be able to hear them now. It's the AirPods. They just don't work.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to be getting sent any free Apple product.
Yeah.
Not now you've said that. I am getting a bit of echo. Can you still hear us, Dimitri?
Yeah, I can, but I don't know. Let me restart this call very quickly. Okay, I think people are saying that they can hear you now, so that's good.
Good, okay.
There might be some issues with the sound, but sorry guys, this is not a studio or anything like that. Unfortunately, we have to do, what we have to do. So we'll try to be as loud, as precise as we can. So anyway, I'll start. So welcome everyone to our June Q&A. I can't believe it's June already, but yes, there we go. It's been a while since our last Q&A live stream. As usual, we have a bunch of questions for you today, guys. So first 5 questions we picked from Katie Play. And we'll get those answered first, and those questions that we have picked, they will get a carbon fiber pack added to their account, so that's good. And then we have about 5 to 10 questions additionally, that we collected from other platforms as well. But I would suggest that if you guys have any other questions, make sure you put them in the comments section, because we want to see them. But first of all, how are you both doing today, Will and John?
We're very good, thank you. Yeah, not too bad at all. Having a good day. It's a shame that the weather's not quite as bright as it has been in the past little while, but it's still nice. So.
Yeah, it's pretty hot in here in London these days. But yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But today was a bit lighter. We've had a bit of a rain today. Anyway, let's go to the question number 1. And there's quite a lot to cover today. And I mean, there's quite a few topics that have been brought up this month, but also, we've had quite a few things going on with the updates and everything. So there's quite a lot to cover today. The first question comes from the user nicknamed Tongchai, and I think this is someone we've seen already on the Q&A. So congrats on winning once again. And we will go straight to the big topics. So this is about the next big update, which is obviously something that everyone wants to know. Hi, could you please give us an idea when the next big update is supposed to come? You were saying that it would come in the first half of 2021 and still nothing. Well, obviously this is something that obviously this is, to a certain extent, it's kind of my fault in terms of in the previous couple of live streams I was telling you guys that it's coming soon, etc., that you don't have to wait for too long, and it's still not here. So there's a certain level of guilt from my side, where because I shouldn't be saying these things really too early, but this was my expectation. Yeah, but but to be clear, we are working on the next car update. In fact, we're working on the several car updates at the same time. So we just don't have any timelines for you yet, and there are certain reasons why it may be coming later than we expect and you guys expect us. This is for the most part it has to do with sort of licensing, because it's a bit challenging to do licensing in this environment that we have right now with COVID. So licenses are definitely more difficult to get right now. But we're working on several updates at the same time, so whenever they're ready, they will come out. There's no reason for us to hold them any longer than necessary. We want them to push out as soon as they're ready, and if we're not releasing them right now, that means we just simply cannot, for reasons. One of them being licensing, of course. Nothing great right now. I want to say there is something, but we're still working on everything.
We're making progress.
Yeah, people are saying I'm quiet. Why? I don't understand why, because I'm almost shouting in here. Like, I don't know. Let me look at Streamlabs very quickly and see maybe if I can do something with this. Performance mode. Performance mode. Yeah, sorry about that. Just 1 second.
I think it's going to change when you took your headphones off.
It will, but with the headphones, they will not hear you.
Okay.
That's the problem. Okay, maybe this. No, I guess we completely lost the sound now. No.
No, I can hear you.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can hear me. That's not the problem. I think this should be better now, guys. I think the mixer, this little thing is a bit better now. So I think it should be better. Yeah, I hope so. Let me know in the comment section. Anyway, let me return back to the call. I just want to go back to the office or something like that. This is ridiculous because like.
I know. Hopefully not too much longer before we can actually be back on the sofa and in a proper setup in the office.
Yeah, that would be good. The problem, like, I've moved recently and I used to stream from my home, but the problem is in my new home, my Wi-Fi is really, really, really bad. Like, it's dropping all the time. So I can't do anything about it. So I have to go to other places. So I think people are saying that they hear us a little bit better now, which is good to know. Yeah, I think I've boosted the sound very slightly. So Dev Halsod, I've just actually responded to your question about the next update, and the response was that we're working on multiple updates at the same time. Unfortunately, we're limited by licensing, but there is not much we can do about it at the moment. So we hope to bring you the next update as soon as possible, and there's absolutely no reason for us to hold it any longer than necessary. We want you to play them as soon as possible. That's not my Wi-Fi. That's the problem. I'm renting, so I would love to do something better, but I'm renting. Anyway, next question number 2. And by the way, Tom Chai, congratulations on your carbon fiber pack. I will award that to you very soon. Question number 2. Do you think there are many new car updates down the line? There's been rumors that there aren't many more cars to add to the game, and if so, where will the game go from there? And yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say I'm happy to jump in on that one. Sure.
Yeah. So we have. I mean, the note I have here is that we have 12 plus future updates in varying levels of detail. But this is an open question. We think that there's a lot of space we haven't explored in top drives related to the cards themselves and exploring special editions and limited collections of existing cars. This is a tried and tested mechanic in nearly every card game, but not yet top drives. We think that might give us a lot of opportunity to continue the experience of collecting new cards. So I think we can agree that there's many more cars that exist in real life that we could potentially add, but we're definitely not there in terms of hitting certain threshold of how many more car updates we can have. There's a lot, and that's the reason why right now we're working on multiple car updates at the same time and getting licensing for them, because we can. There's an opportunity for us, and we're definitely looking forward to exploring this. And you know, when all these things that we work on this year that are according to our roadmap, and we will talk about this a little bit further in the live stream, but you know, in the year or two, the game is probably going to be unrecognizable compared to right now. There's going to be so much stuff, new UI, you know, like, yeah, we will almost talk about this every live stream, but you know, we're as excited as you are. But
yeah,
the team
I mean, it's one of those things that obviously with Top Drives, it kind of lives and breathes. You know, the cars are the kind of, it's the heart of it, or you know, the thing that powers it. And we, you know, like, it has come up in the past, but I think, like you say, we can honestly say that internally, the number of the number of new cars still available is just not a concern. We feel like there are still manufacturers out there that we want to add, and then I think even when you look at some of the, you know, a lot of the manufacturers in the game, they still haven't had that second or even that third pass, which is when we start to get into some of the more interesting models. And actually, you know, a big part, I think another area where Top Drives, there's an opportunity for us to do something interesting with brand new model. You know, it is interesting. You know, it's something that we don't tap into in a big way, but through the year, any given year, there's certain key models come out that are, you know, for whatever reason, are kind of, you know, often it's kind of iconic performance models, and it's like the new version of that. And there's just a huge amount of interest and discussion around those models. So, yeah, I think
I mean, that's a pretty good point, because like the game existed for 4 years now, right? Almost, and let's say it began developing even 5-6 years ago. But that means that there's probably, for many car brands, that's a whole generation of cars, you know, that has already been, you know, developed and now are being sold. So there is definitely a lot, not only in terms of like getting older cars into the game, but also new ones. And you've seen that with the European Revolution, when we added the new Koenigseggs, you know, that are 2020, 2021. The Gemera, I think, Gemera is her name, I think, but it's not even released yet. I think it's only coming next year. So there is that, you know. So yeah, there we go. There's definitely still a lot in the bank for us for bringing into the game. So that's a very good question. Thank you very much, Callow user. I never spelled your name. I'm really sorry about that, by the way. But you will get a nice shiny carbon fiber pack to your account very soon. Next question from the user called RTG. And this one is about the GT series, which is the sort of a new type of tri-series that we've ran very recently with was it Citroen, I think, tri-series? Citroen GT, exactly. So the question is as such. So the GT series was very exciting and engaging. The new mode of tri-series impressed me a lot. There was certainly over winning, losing the prize cards. There's a bit of a difficult sentences. Moreover, new format seemed more rewarding as well. Are we looking on a transition from the standard tri-series to the new format, or are there any plans for using that format occasionally? This is also an interesting question, because yeah, it definitely was a very interesting experiment, and it was unusual, and we have seen a pretty significant improvement in engagement there. We have seen, I mean, like they're not like super exactly directly comparable with each other, because, you know, one is fully multiplayer, another one is like half multiplayer, but it's mostly a single player challenge. So they're not directly comparable, but we do know, you know, things like the number of prizes people have gotten, the number of the percentage of players who have received the final prize. So we can compare. Obviously, the amount, even the gold that was spent. So there's a lot of things that we know, and we've definitely seen this as a very popular format. And I think to a certain extent that there is some conflict. I've seen some players saying, "Well, I don't like it. This is like, I don't like it at all. You know, I prefer the old time of tri-series." I've seen someone saying that they are gonna quit the game now because of that. So, you know, it's not like everyone's gonna love it. But overall, we've seen some very, very positive sentiment around this. I think the team would still want it to be a little bit more difficult, because while we've seen people saying that round 22 was ridiculously difficult, I mean, how difficult are the Tri-Series finals? They are very difficult. You know, you have to be a very active player to be able to properly compete for the top prize car. So that's what you kind of expect from even the challenge. The other thing is that we kind of mentioned that before, I think, but like having these you know, you can't really compare them directly, the challenge and the multiplayer, right? So you don't want players to be sort of constrained by one round of the challenge. You want them to be able to beat all the challenges because, you know, that's kind of the whole point of it. But it's not going to be always possible. It looks like you have a bit of an emergency. But yeah, other than that, really, other than the GT series being a little bit more easier than we expected or maybe wanted, or other than that, yeah, for us it's been great. So yeah, do you guys have anything to add on this? Do you think?
No. I think you probably covered most things. Really. It's just that that idea that I think we've talked about before, but we are with the tools now available to us. I think I think it's going to be a common theme. There's new formats and new styles of event coming out, and that that's going to continue with the popular ones just kind of weave back in, sort of at various time.
Yeah, and I do appreciate players saying, that this is kind of a separate topic, but I do appreciate players saying that, they feel that there's been less content, or they feel sometimes bored as of recent. But when we kind of do put two and two together, it turns out that there's been a bit more content than previously in the past couple of months. There's been more content than ever, really, including challenges. And with the challenges, not the issue, but the difficulty right now is that our tech is still kind of fresh, so as far as I'm understanding. Yes, correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny, is still kind of fresh, so we're still going to be improving on that, making the process faster. So there's only so much we can do right now, That's like our intention, but players are, sometimes I see players saying, there's too little notice that you give us, you have the challenges, you push out the challenges so quickly without giving us any notice. Why is it happening? It's one of those reasons. The difficulty with having it is to a certain extent caused by the fact that we have this new tech. We don't know it fully. We need to improve on it, but also we're just not simply making enough content to put quickly enough into the game. As soon as we have something ready, we want to go live. If we have something ready but we do not release it, that means we're artificially delaying it by a certain number of days. So that's why you see content being pushed out very quickly as soon as it's ready at the moment. But moving to the future, of course, we want to be able to create more content than now. That's something that we have on our mind. Let me see. Do we have any comments? Interesting questions in the comments section. At least no one's mentioning sound, so that's making me very happy. Ferrari, no.
Ferrari pop up.
One little question: when will be the Call of the Wild challenges arriving? So they're coming, pretty soon. This is one of the priorities at the moment. So keep an eye. It's one of those things that will happen very, very soon. And you will have a lot of content to enjoy, but just not now. Just wait a little bit. Today on the agenda we have the Tri-Series, the Lancia LC2. I've just received the file. I will upload the show now. And by the way, thank you both for doing this. It's a great little video, and I hope you guys will enjoy it and enjoy the finals as well, because it's a really, really interesting car, the Lancia. Shall we go to the next question? Yes, we should, I think. So that user was, I hope I've answered your question. I mean, I probably ramble a little bit too much, but yeah. So that question was from user RTG, and congrats on your carbon fiber pack. Now, this is kind of interesting. This is the next one, is something I've seen been asked quite a few times on Discord and the forums, pretty much since we've released the challenges update. With us moving to a key-based system rather than prize car, will we have an inventory to hold? Yeah, will we have basically an inventory to hold all the keys and items that we earn for these challenges? And that question came from a user called Blackjack Jones. So thank you for this question, Blackjack Jones. So yes, inventory for items. The answer is no plans at the moment, and the reason is we don't want you to care about this by design, if you know what I mean. We don't want you to think about that there is a need to have this inventory. We want to develop challenges in such a way, an event in such a way that you simply do not need this feature, the inventory. However, if we feel that there is a need in the future, for example, there are things like monthly challenges, which are definitely, one of those things that are quite important. That you are able to look back and see which keys you already have and which you do not, so you know exactly what's going on. It is one of those considerations that might mean that we might have to discount to get this feature created, but at the moment there are no plans right now. You should just be able to sort of tap on the key and see how many of which you have in the challenges in the challenges screen or reward screen, requirements screen, whenever. But yeah, you should be able to see them within the challenge. We don't want to create something completely new for, sometimes we will only have like 1-2 keys in there, so it's going to be a lot of time spent on developing a feature that is not going to be used so much. So yeah, at the moment no. But if we feel that there's a need, we might do that. That is the answer. And so again, Blackjack Jones, congrats. That was a very good question, but something that we wanted to address, of course. And the final question. So I've actually I've asked someone to help us with answer to this Q&A, and we have a new member of the team as well, who's helping us, actually focus on which features and projects we should be developing next. And she's been very kind to provide an answer to the next question that I have, because it is something that we are actually actively working on right now, and as soon as we have more info, like screenshots, we will be able to reveal it, but at the moment we're not going to say much. So this is about the so-called wishlist feature. The question was from a user called, from the user ID 475886143, but also the automated gaming experience user, influencer. He asked the same question on Discord, asking whether we can bring the wishlist feature to the game. Yeah, that was the question. Can you bring the wishlist? And I've have a pretty detailed answer, but the answer is basically yes. We are bringing this to the game, and this is something that's being actively developed right now. So the way it's going to look is that the first version of the wishlist feature will allow you to wishlist a car, that's one, filter to see what cars you currently have wishlisted, remove a car from being wishlisted, and be notified when you've won a wishlisted car. So yeah, I mean, I've seen some animations that are being done for it right now. It looks very nice, fresh, everything's floating. There are some like hearts and everything like that. It looks pretty good, because at the moment the top drives UI is a bit like static feeling, but that's what I've seen so far. I don't know if it's probably not the final version at all, but what I've seen is pretty good. But yes, you will be able to wishlist your car, and before you have them, and as soon as I think you get them, and you collect them from your holding pool, they will disappear from your wish list. So it will have some form of autonomous work as well. So it's not going to be completely static. During the feature design, we discussed if wishlisted cars could be automatically added to the garage from the holding pool, but we decided that we would not implement this behavior due to the complexity for a player that doesn't have available garage slots. We want to deliver the new feature to you as soon as possible, but as I said, yeah, I've seen it being developed, but I'm not going to give you any tentative dates. It might come as a surprise feature in some of our updates. So yeah, keep an eye on it. But yeah, it's something that is definitely coming. But yeah, I mean, as usual, this is the first iteration, so you can expect us to keep improving it. And by the way, speaking of features, iterations, and improving. The RQ slider, I've seen some work being done on that as well. So you guys, you don't worry. We want. I think I don't remember exactly now. It completely went out of my head right now. But I know that some members of the team are currently working on it. It's just a matter of prioritization at the moment. I don't think it's like top one priority, but it's definitely being looked at. We have some ideas. I have a couple more mentions of quality of life features since we are at it, and I think it's a good opportunity to talk about it. Next on the list of quality of life features, and big hooray when I say this, sell all in your holding pool. Hooray, this is coming. And we also have, what do we also have? Oh, lock a car when it's in when you're in the hand selection. I think it's your hand selection. Yeah, car selection screen. You will be able to hold your to lock your cars, because at the moment you can unlock them and then they the button just disappears. So that's coming as well. And one that you're gonna like, guys, a lot. Let me just see the reaction to the previous things I've said, because the next one is gonna be a good one. And it's something that people have been asking for a while, and that is one, two, three. The skipping fuse costs. Yeah. So basically, we're gonna cut the cost if you skip the fuse to reduce. Reducing it. Wait. The gold cost of skipping fusing to reduce over time, but we're not ready to say when it's being released. So basically, yeah, the fuse cost will
It still feels like quite an you know, the quality of life gets talked about so much, and I guess it can feel like a slightly imaginary thing. It is,
but like I didn't actually. I've talked about it in the I think previous Q&A that I should go and look at all the previous Q&A threads on KT Play and collect all the quality of life features, and I actually did that. So I've went through like 150 pages and just put a big list of and the number of likes next to the most popular ones, and to a certain extent, of course, it probably influenced the things that we're working on right now, but it gives our product managers the idea of what is important for the community, because it's not always so apparent from the first glance, but when you look at those threads, they're actually like 70% of things that people ask us in those threads for these videos, for these live streams, are about quality of life features. So, you know, there's a lot to take from there. So, yeah. But there we go, a couple of small teasers or hints for what's coming in terms of quality of life in the coming months, guys. So I think the fuse cost one is probably going to be one that's going to be pretty popular, because I've seen people asking about it all the time. So we are now done with our first section of the live stream, which is the first 5 questions. And so ID 475886143. Congrats on your carbon fiber pack. There you go. Yeah, I can see the comments. Yeah. There we go. I knew people would love this. So we have some interesting questions coming next, and you guys are going to be a little bit more involved this time. Do you have any preferences for which one do we start with? I think there's like 6 or 7 of those questions. Obviously, I've just talked about the quality of life stuff, so we are not going to cover it. I had a question that I still want to address from Kaspar Christensen, who asked about the percentage of players that won the recent Tri-Series challenge. So this was about the GT Tri-Series. I'm not going to give you the exact answer, but I'm going to tell you that it was a little bit higher than what we usually see in the normal Tri-Series in terms of how many players have gotten the top prize. So which is why we think that it was a bit too easy, something that I've said earlier in the live stream. But yeah, that's a pretty easy question, an easy answer, but it was more than normal, yeah. So I think this one is for you guys. So Thomas Studer is asking, as far as submissions for car corrections go, what sources would you consider reputable? Would you consider a car correction if the source is a Wikipedia page? Do you have any sort of list with approved sites? So I don't know.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we don't we've never got to the point of actually kind of putting together a approved list. I imagine it's, that's to evolve constantly. I think Wikipedia is a potential starting point, but be a source in itself because it just references sort of other sources really. So I mean, the starting point for kind of tracing things through to a more sort of formal data source. I think, really, in simple terms, it's the big. There's two sides to it. One is the manufacturer themselves. I think often if there is manufacturer data and they're providing it, or it's kind of freely available, then that is a good place to be, and everything very official. The other side for a lot of models is really any major car publication or sort of organization that is doing road tests on a regular basis, and I think probably a lot of the people playing will know of the big, the big sort of organizations and companies that are out there doing that, and they generally have a sort of standard format that they stick to whenever they're running performance tests, and I think those are generally great sources because they're putting a lot of different cars through their pipeline, and so you often get the comparison data as well, which is great. I don't know. I mean, Will, you've got first-hand experience of strapping kind of timing your cars, and
well, yeah. I mean, it makes you think. It's something I've been thinking about a lot. The idea that potentially, if what would be better even than getting data from external sources would be to sort of generate and create the data ourselves, if that were even possible. But would we actually genuinely be getting any more accurate data than we would if we were getting it from sources of magazines? Because of course we can't have a controlled environment with the same driver in the same location, with the same weather, with everything the same, at the same sort of altitude, all that sort of stuff, to get the figures from the amount of cars that are in top drives anyway. So actually, in some respects, that yes, we're getting figures, from reputable places, and that do these tests, because that's I think that's the best way of doing it, and possibly maybe it's just the only way, but it's not just the only way, but it is the best way of doing it too. Because I think that would be kind of what we. The alternative would be to sort of start from scratch and get them on ourselves, which would take forever. So yeah, I think the other question would be is that I suppose because being mostly kind of UK and Europe based game from where Hutch is based, sort of thing, and where we all are, the figures, and obviously having partnerships with certain people, that the figures we're using are sort of the way in which the data is collected via kind of the UK and European style. So rather than maybe the US mags, which generally do acceleration figures in a slightly different way, they generally have a kind of what's called a 1 foot rollout type thing, which kind of generates slightly faster 0 to 60. So we don't use those unless we can't find any other sort of better sources for those figures, sort of thing. So that's another thing. Just because if you're looking at a car and you go, well, actually, I've seen this car in Motor Trend or Car and Driver, and it accelerates much faster in their test than it does in the quoted figure in the game. That might be because what we're using is a sort of a genuine 0 to 60 rather than a kind of, I think, 360 type thing, or whatever it is that the motor is. I can't remember the exact data. So there are going to be slight differences as well that we see. You might find cars that are maybe not as fast in the game as you perhaps see in other places, but that is mainly because the figure becomes a different type of test, one that's perhaps more consistent throughout the whole of the game as well. So there's bits here and there, but yeah, it's mostly that's where it comes from. Yeah, magazine tests, I suppose, and yeah, no, it's manufacturer tests too.
So Wikipedia is not a reliable source, would you?
Well, Wikipedia, in some respects, it kind of is, because of course those figures come from somewhere that appear on Wikipedia, and if they are, and Wikipedia is great because it does often as well include the sources about where these comes from, and they're usually linked very easily. So absolutely, if it's on Wikipedia and it comes and it's linked, and the source is there, and you can trace it back to where it originally came from, then absolutely yes. Wikipedia alone, perhaps not. No.
There we go. Thank you very much, Will. We had a hashtag going around, let Will talk. So we're letting him talk, exactly. Next. So, should we talk about the off-the-line acceleration from a car? I have to admit, like, I sometimes don't even understand fully what the question is about, but I can see some things that both of you guys might know something about, so I just put it in there and see.
This is one of those questions where I feel like I probably should have looked at the questions a couple of days ago almost and done a bit more research. I mean, I think it probably touches a little bit on what you were just saying, Will. There's obviously a behavior, we put in a 0 to 60 time, but there's a whole behavior of the acceleration curve before that that can vary between models. To be honest, I don't have the answer to the question, which is exactly what variables we put in the game are being used to generate that curve. Our overall physics simulation generates the entire curve, so in one go with the data that we feed into it, which are 3 different acceleration times, top speed, and then things like the weight and the drive, and the other things are shown in the card. There's definitely, there's always, I think like we said before, there's always discussions around this sort of simulation, and there are a number of things in the works around that. One of them is to go even more granular on the number of points of acceleration data that we can feed in. So I know when you sometimes read a super detailed road test or performance test, they actually do go in sort of 10 mile an hour increments, and so you can see, with that data, you would get a fairly accurate picture of what it looks like the whole way up the acceleration curve. So it's not impossible that in the future we maybe have a system that allows us to feed in that data where it's available. It's not going to be available for every car. And then the only other thing probably worth mentioning is that we obviously do. This is one of the things that falls under kind of general corrections. We do if people are noticing that there is a car with any sort of unusual behavior sub 60, that is something that we can go in, we can look at the curve in detail, and we can potentially sort of tweak it to get something better. It's actually most of our problem. We've got some cars that don't even reach, say, 100 miles an hour. Some of the really slow cars in the game definitely stretch our physics simulation more than the kind of the faster cars, and some of them we've definitely had it in the past that we've had cars that can only say do like 40 miles an hour that absolutely leap off the line and are like faster than a McLaren to sort of 20 and then dramatically slow down. But I'd like to think we've caught all those cases now. But yeah, if anybody is noticing a car where they feel like the off the line behavior is incorrect, then that's something that we're happy to feed into the correction process and look into.
Thank you. We actually have a question about the Melansia LC2 requirements, and as far as I remember, they are 2015. Just to let everyone know. So I think without any additions, I think. But yeah, I hope I'm not wrong, and you guys are not gonna fuse wrong cars and then knock on my door. So we have next question again for both of you. We will talk about the the question is this. So could it be possible to separate Vauxhall and Opel? There we go. 2 historical separate brands. Some of the Holden, of course. Maybe Fiat and Abarth. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know what we call the list that this goes on to, but it feels like it should go on to a list. I'm not sure it's the quality of life one, but I think this is a fair point. I think what happened was that in the early days of hot drives, there were sort of, I can't remember the numbers, it was like sort of 43 Vauxhalls and 2 Opels or something like that. And it at the time, it was, we wanted to include that, and we thought there might be a few more down the road. And so it was, just thought it made more sense at that point to group them together than have a manufacturer with 1 or 2 models in it. But I think now, particularly now, it would justify looking at that again and looking where we can split things out. So I would need to double check this, but some of them are I think some of them may be manufacturer requests, where for whatever reason they view it as or they want it viewed as more of a kind of a group. But I think that would be well worth having a look at again.
Great, thank you. Some questions coming about the trophy system. I've actually, usually we don't really have much to share because it's not something that we're working on right now. I do have a little small comments based on the discussions we've had recently with some of the team members. We definitely recognize that there is, trophies may not be exactly very fair at the moment, but we're not going to be, if we are going to do something with them, it's unlikely that we will just simply, switch some numbers in terms of how many trophies you're getting or what is the highest threshold, moving it from 4,000 to 6,000 or whatever. This is probably not going to happen. This probably needs a bigger look at the whole system rather than making some incremental changes, hoping that they will help. So this might take a bit longer. Just letting everyone know. But it is something that we definitely recognize as being something that you guys talk to us about a lot. And I just want to make it clear it's not a very simple solution to the trophy system. So there we go. But yeah, thank you, Johnny, for answering latest questions.
I was just gonna jump in with one more. I kind of, it's always interesting with certain questions. I like it. The question from Cystic was, what do you think is the hardest job at Hutch? Is it creating challenges, balancing cars, creating vents, etc.? It's just one of those more unusual questions. I don't have I like the question. I don't have I was going to say I don't have a great answer for it. I'd probably say they all have their challenges. They're all hard work. I think, but I would say this isn't quite what this is what isn't down as one of the examples. But I'd say if I had to pick out the one thing that I consider to be the hardest, it's actually, and this is maybe a bit boring, but it's actually prioritizing what to work on. It's such. It's just an ongoing challenge. Right? I mean, for any business, or kind of any game studio, because you just can't do everything. There's the lists of what you want, what the team wants to do to the game, what the players are wanting, what the community's wanting. It is always bigger than what can be done, and so there is this huge challenge of prioritization, and that it'll be. It's a combination of gut feel from people on the team, and then also data, from kind of what the game data is telling us, what the community voice is saying, and that is a very difficult. That's always going to be a kind of hard balance to strike, really. So I would probably pull that one out as the hardest bit of all.
Yeah, I mean, think about it as like a funnel. There's 1,000 things that can go, but you can only let through a couple, or a certain number that is always way smaller than the number of things that are being requested. So I agree with you fully. I wonder what questions I want to ask so that Will can answer them. I don't even know.
Well, I was looking at the question from Will X, which says, because I'm interested in this as well, see what you guys do. So do any of the Hutch teams still play top drives seriously? I have to admit, I'm not sure that I could ever be considered a serious top drives player. I think generally rubbish at the game. I spend too much time collecting the cars that I like that aren't necessarily any good. And then use those ones and spend far too long sort of with cars, filling up slots that aren't actually very good, but I like them and don't want to get rid of them. And then I have massive satisfaction when I play with cars that I like and they win challenges when they perhaps when it's a bit of a quirky thing. That's where I get most satisfaction with it from, I have to admit. So I'm not a very good player, particularly, or a very serious player, but I do enjoy it. But I'm interested in how you guys sort of, what you guys do with yours.
Yeah. I know you got. I was just going to say that there are definitely. I mean, the very short answer is yes. I think around Hutch, we have sort of multiple games on the go, and Hutch has sort of grown initially. There's quite a few people there, and there are still, there's definitely still a few what I would consider to be serious, fairly hardcore Top Drives players. I think what I always found interesting in the early days of it was that it wasn't necessarily all the car fans. I think there were some sort of strategy game players, who worked at Hutch, who just, who kind of gave Top Drives a shot and actually have become some of the most kind of hardcore Top Drives players within Hutch. So, yeah, there's definitely still a...
Yeah, but we have plenty of people playing, so don't worry about that. We have a lot of people on different levels, like there are some very high, some very good garages. There are people that are just starting out. There's someone in the middle. So, but yeah, like most people play Top Drive, so without any doubt. I actually wanted to, sorry guys, there's something that I have not mentioned at the beginning of the live stream, though I did want, and I actually looked into answering that, and you guys are bringing it up in the comment section. The sort of bugs and the issues that we've been having since the 13.3 update, and we absolutely do recognize that the number of issues or reports has increased. I think at this point of time we have most of these already logged, and priorities set for fixing them. So the couple of them that are the most annoying one, the freezes and the overlapping screens, are the ones that are definitely on the high priority right now. I don't have an update in terms of when it's going to be fixed, but yeah, I just want to let you guys know that this is something that we're taking very seriously, and it's definitely we've been aware of this since that update dropped. Really, we've had most of these issues bugged by in the first couple of days. And the priorities have been set, so but we're working on it, so we'll share more as soon as we can. So specifically it was the freezing and the overlapping. These are the most annoying ones, of course, for you. So yeah, there we go. So what do we have left? Do we have anything interesting left? Let me just open them. I have to switch between tabs all the time, and on the phone it's not very convenient. So okay, so what about the various collection series coming back? As you guys know, we had a bit of a reveal or tease with the latest update that brought back the tag that you're already all familiar with. But this question specifically was about, can we expect any other previously ran collection series to come back? So yeah, that's one of them, and yes, there will be more coming. I will not guarantee that all of them are coming, because you don't kind of want some new ones to bring along occasionally. You don't want to reuse everything that you've done before already. But yes, this is you can expect some of that in the future, and you can expect the repeat or like sequels to those collection series that we've already had. Let me just have a quick look at the YouTube comments to see if anyone's asking any interesting. So yeah, I've talked about the issues with the 13.3. Again, as I said, sorry about that, but we have this logged, and it's high priority for us.
I saw somebody asking if we spend cash on packs in the game. I see, and it probably is worth mentioning that although we obviously have access to behind the scene, all of anybody who's sort of a serious Top Drives player or kind of plays it on a regular basis, none of them will be getting sort of anything kind of extra, from a kind of development point of view or anything like that. So yeah, I think everybody had, I think all the serious players at Hutch have spent, when the kind of the right occasion comes up.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think we're gonna start wrapping up, guys, because we've ran through all the questions already. So unless someone asks something from us in the comments, I don't know the owner's price car. Sorry, I don't know it yet. You will find out soon. In terms of what's coming next, yeah, I mean, the only thing I can tell you is to look forward to are the Tri-Series finals that will be starting tonight, you will see soon what's coming next for Top Drives. Nothing else I can say. So I think we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. Thank you very much for joining, and we'll see you next month, Will and Johnny, and I'll try to next time to pick questions so that it will be. Yes, there will be a Tri-Series tune-up, Kevin. Yes, I will try to pick such questions that next time we'll be talking for 45 minutes.
No, I'm happy. I don't mind. It's great to contribute, but I'm happy also just to add little bits when I can. So it's okay.
Well, you see how this works, you know? Like, I'm jumping here like a monkey all the time, and then and people, you're like, Dimitri again, nah. But then Will shows up for like 1 minute. Will, please speak to us, say something.
I still think we should bring in a section which is basically the most interesting car Will has driven since the last Q&A.
Yeah, I was.
I'll keep it tally.
I was thinking, what's the point for Will to play Top Drives? He can play Top Drives in real life, right? So
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining, and I will see you. By the way, you will see myself and Will in the showcase episode for the Lancia LC2 today, and you will see Johnny in the next episode of the Top Drive show. So have a good one, guys. Thank you very much for sending your questions. The first 5 I will award your carbon fiber packs very soon. You don't have to do anything. I will get in touch with you and award you the packs myself. So, yeah, there we go. Thank you and bye-bye. I will see you soon.
Thanks to me.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye.